All right, once you've started with your blob brush and you've played with some of your settings, remember they can always be changed just by double clicking on the tool. You want to make sure you save this as a working vector file, which is an AI file, an Adobe Illustrator file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, onto my computer, and then I'm going to put in my codes, my name and my semester code. This is assignment 5. And this is my Deco Nico. Sounds like a fizzy drink. I'm going to just save it to the desktop as an AI file. And that reminds me, you know what? I have not created, keep all the defaults, I have not created a folder for this yet. So I'm going to open my master folder, create a folder for assignment 5. The last folder I created was for my print ready files. Going to mark it as, where is it? Here it is. As yellow, because I'm in progress with it. And what do I move into that folder? I move in my sketch, which I've also posted to Canvas, and the AI file that I just saved, and I mark that green. That is my master file that I work on until I'm happy with my vector line art. And my inspiration images, right? These kind of Art Deco inspirations from my downloads folder. Just bring them all over. That's going to help. Now I'm back to Illustrator. And now you'll see your name at the top as an AI file, and just each time you do something you like, just hit Command S, and it will save it. So last thing I did was this kind of Alamo College's logo that's hidden in this hood. And now I'm just going to kind of confidently ink the rest. So a pretty technical inking technique, pretty professional, is to taper your edges. So if you're starting a line from nothing like that, you want to start really light and then thicken as you go. Little taper there, little taper there for those stitches, little taper there, little taper. But that has a lot to do with your settings. I have this little hash mark here just to show that it's kind of dirty. I have this little seam here. Maybe I make that a dotted line, show the fabric. Because this isn't a wealthy night. This is like a vagabond night. Now this happens with your inking. You might get a beautiful stroke you really like, but then you get slight issues with the overlap, right? So that's where holding down Command and finding your shapes matters. And that's where using the pencil tool can refine it. What's nice is the more lines you get, the less you'll get those little overlaps, because you can just stop one line within the other line. So that was an overexpressed line. Here is one where I just didn't push it quite far enough. So again, I hold down Command and I can use the pencil tool to start on the path and end on the path and clean it up. Then back to the blob brush. I like to challenge myself when I'm doing these to not zoom in too much, right? Because the way Illustrator is designed, I can get that beautiful complex curve a lot easier if I actually am doing it from a distance. And then I just use that pencil tool to refine those edges. So again, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. especially for those perfectionists in the room. You just want to get marks down, and then in Illustrator, you have perfect control of modifying them. So they all look good and clean. And remember, you have lots of different techniques you can use. So I'm going to save it, Command S. But maybe I want a technique where I'm going to do lots of little hatching lines in the armor or on the fabric. There's nothing wrong with that, right? This isn't about your cleanliness or your efficiency. This is about your own illustration style. Now, the other benefit of Illustrator is that this is a vector I just made, and if I can get that shape the way I want it, and then clean it up, which is tough. I have to zoom in quite a bit, Command plus to do that. Then I can use the pencil tool to redraw the inside and the outside. Because it's Art Deco inspired, Art Deco has a lot of repeated shapes, right? So now I'm going to use the large selection tool and just select that vector and then Command C, Command V, paste it. And then just grow it. The large selection tool is like transform in Photoshop, but you never have to hit return because vectors are so energy efficient or processing efficient that they just immediately do whatever you tell them to. They don't preview it first and then you have to okay it. Command C, Command V, get another copy. Now make this one bigger. Tilt it a little bit more. And maybe that's better than drawing them myself, so they feel like these kind of mechanical openings within this armor. Or this visor for the helmet. And then if I want to slim it down, what do? Well, I simply use the pencil tool to redraw one of the edges, like the inside line there. It looks like it's getting a little thick. So now the outside shape's really consistent, but these inside shapes will be slightly different. Should be visually engaging. Basically, you're just trying to keep yourself interested in the project. Right? Whatever will keep you interested will keep your viewer interested. So if you're ever doing things you don't really know why, question how can you make it more interesting for yourself? So I just really flubbed that curve, and I think rotating it will help. Doing straight lines is challenging, but not impossible, especially if you use that rotate tool and the smooth function. There we go. Mm-hmm.
If you went back and you hit Command Z, how do you go one forward?
Shift Command Z. Yeah, there isn't a list of the history like there is in Photoshop, but what's nice, because vectors are so memory efficient, you can go back. It will remember every step you've done since you opened Illustrator. So it is the tool at the bottom right. It's called the rotate hand tool or rotate view tool. So you click on that and then you just click and drag to rotate your image around. And when you want it to go back to its original, you just double click it. So it's this tool. The default is the magnifying glass, so you want to open that up. Absolutely. So the pencil is usually in with the paintbrushes. And if it's not, you can look at these 3 dots and find it. So there's the pencil. In is the shortcut for it. So if you just hit in on your keyboard, it will automatically change to it. But it should be somewhere in your toolbar. Sometimes they get misplaced. Sometimes they get fully turned off. But that's just when we restore the defaults for Illustrator. Okay, you will come across design challenges. I have my first design challenge, which is what do I want to do with the underside of this visor, right? And sometimes you kind of mess it up. So this is where I might use the eraser tool. In the eraser tool, you can double click and you can set the size just like you can for the blob brush, but it has no smoothness option. So it's not a good drawing tool, but what you can do is separate out paths because the blob brush combines them all. So for instance, I can kind of separate this path out like that and like this, kind of clunkily. And then I can use the small selection tool and just delete them. Select them and delete them so that I can use the blob brush and redraw it. So I think I actually want to erase this whole segment. Don't use the eraser like you would a real eraser in a drawing and try to like erase whole areas with it because it will leave little shards. So instead just use it to carve up segments that then you refine with the pencil tool or the smooth tool or something else. And this is new stuff, so be patient with yourself as you're learning it. It is tricky. But this is the professional standard software and procedure for getting really, really clean illustrations. Remember, what are illustrations? Illustrations are images made to be reproduced. And there's no better form of that in 2 dimensions than vector imagery. Because it's infinitely scalable for all those reasons that we have learned. So what you want to do is before you even click on the tool, like you can click on one of the selection tools, then set it up. And you want to start by clicking on the defaults because we're just doing pure black and white. And the default is this, a white fill, a black stroke. You want to swap those. And then you want to empty the stroke. Now, once you make a vector, you can reset its parameters anytime. But these are the defaults we want to just keep using. So now you click the tool, and that tool will take on those properties. Sometimes if you had different properties chosen when you first use the tool, when you go back to the tool, it will revert to those initial properties. So yeah, so you want to click off of it, reset those, and then use the tool. But I can come and try to troubleshoot that for you. Oops. So remember, to use the pencil tool, you first have to select it.